Good May 31st, 2024 to everybody out there. We are experiencing another round of severe weather right now in the Dallas, Houston area of Texas, and more severe weather is on the way, of course, as we continue to have these big-time complexes of storms form in the central U.S., and this is kind of the pattern that we're going to be in for a little while, but we are on the cusp of a big pattern change once again, and we're going to talk about that in today's video. First of all, here's some of those warnings in Texas as I'm filming this right now. We had some big storms right around Houston. Those are moving out to sea now, but we're going to continue to see these flood warnings and flash flood warnings out here from Dallas all the way down to Houston, as there has been a lot of rain this morning. More rain and storms are on the way for places literally around Texas and Houston as we go later into the day today on Friday, May 31st. We've got a slight risk of severe weather for portions of Colorado, Texas, and New Mexico, western portions of Kansas as well. Another complex of storms down here in southern Texas, and then we do have a slight risk of severe weather associated with some of those storms moving through Arkansas, Mississippi, and Louisiana later today. Severe storms do not stop tomorrow, June 1st. Slight risk all the way up and down the front range here from western Texas up through New Mexico, up through Colorado, and of course up there into the panhandle of Nebraska as well, and just a itty bitty tiny bit of Wyoming included in that slight risk of severe weather. Slight risk of severe weather also a day 3 on June 2nd for portions of Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, and Minnesota. So this corridor right in here over the next 3 days at least is going to be the hot spot for severe weather. And you can see that pretty clearly here on our simulated radar. Our storms that went through Houston this morning are going to be moving out to sea and into southern portions of Louisiana by 3 p.m. today. We're going to have another round of storms moving through San Antonio and Austin, Texas around this time. Then watch this. We're going to have a corridor of pop-up storms. Some of these could be producing small hail from Kansas up through Nebraska, back up into Wisconsin, Minnesota, and even the UP of Michigan could see a few rumbles of thunder this afternoon. Storms get kind of strong over here in the Mississippi River Valley down here, especially between south and east of Little Rock and north and west of Jackson, Mississippi. And then we start to see those storms really popping off over here in Colorado and New Mexico this evening. This is where all of our storm chasers are probably going to be. Some really big hail, some structure, and some isolated tornadoes are going to be possible today with those storms. And then really just a heavy rain and wind threat associated with our storms up here farther to the north. Things kind of die out during the overnight periods tonight, but of course they will spark right back up tomorrow, June 1st. Look out for some storms over here in the Ohio River Valley, back down into the mid-Mississippi River Valley again, even into the deep south. None of these are really looking that severe. The most severe weather action is going to be over here, once again, in the high plains, transferring over into the south central plains as we get into the overnight periods. About 2 a.m., we could be seeing a damaging wind event here in western Oklahoma, in the northern parts of Texas, over into central Kansas, and maybe even southeastern portions of Nebraska. So this complex of severe weather is something that we have to watch very closely. And then, of course, these big supercells down here, if this is actually happening on June 2nd around 2 a.m., we could be talking about some continued tornado threats down here and some big-time hail. But what about beyond that? This little divot in the 500 millibar level of our jet stream is one of the driving factors behind our storms in the south. We've also got another one back here that's helping to propagate some of those storms in the high plains. We're going to continue to see these little disturbances move through our mostly zonal flow over the next couple of days, and that is going to lead to some isolated severe weather, especially in the high plains, and then intermittently over here in the Ohio Valley down into the deep south. Our weather pattern really starts to become more prominent and easy to kind of nail down, I guess, as we get into the latter half of the first week of June here, as we get a really pronounced jet streak here coming into the northwestern portions of the United States down into the north central part of the United States. This is going to be carrying some cooler air aloft inside of it and allowing for some much warmer air to kind of propagate into the southwestern portions of the U.S. here. As this sets up, this is going to kind of put us into a weather pattern where, once again, widespread tornado outbreaks are less likely. Very warm, in fact, downright hot weather is going to be expected in the southwest. This is going to be completely dry as well for the most part. We're not expecting much rain down here, but all of this warm air is going to kind of meet up with that cool air and then get forced down this corridor from the north central United States down into the Midwest and eventually into the Ohio Valley. And this is kind of the definition of the kind of weather pattern that is usually in place whenever we start to see those big squall lines form, okay? Sometimes we can get derechos in patterns like this where we see storm systems form in the north and then get flung down to the south and east along that boundary between cool air and warm air. Usually this takes place in June and July, so that's what we're seeing here, and it doesn't let up anytime soon. In fact, we could be seeing this pattern all the way through June 8th, and then maybe once we get into the June June 9th, June 10th, June 11th time frame, we will see a more traditional zonal flow here where everything just gets moved very quickly from west to east across the United States, and we don't see much in the way of unsettled weather, at least maybe for another week or so. Here's a look at the lightning strikes predicted by the European model over the next week or so. You can see here that our high plains severe weather is going to continue to be the driving factor of all of our severe weather over the next couple of days especially. But if I pull this far enough into the future, especially around June 4th, June 5th here, you can see that we start to get those more northern squall lines, mesoscale convective systems forming, and they move all the way down the Ohio Valley a couple times there. So this is the pattern that I think we're getting into, where we really have to watch the damaging wind events in this area right here. This pattern is also quite evident as predicted by the Climate Prediction Center, which has, especially during the time period between 8 days from now and 14 days from now, we are expected to be much below average as far as temperatures go over here in the Great Lakes region, all the way down into maybe even the central U.S., down into the south central United States, and much above average over here in the west, especially the Pacific Northwest. And of course, all of the areas between those two air masses is where we will expect to see most of our storms and rain. And you can see here, indicated by the QPF over the next 7 days, this is how much rain we're expected to see over the next 7 days. It's a pretty conservative number, but you can see where the hot spots are. We are going to see quite a bit of rain up here in the Pacific Northwest as we get a lot of Pacific moisture coming over the Cascades. We are going to see a hot spot of some heavier rain up here in Minnesota and Iowa as well. Most of the rain, though, is going to be following down here right along the Mississippi River in Arkansas, Mississippi, and Louisiana over the next 7 days or so. But once again, look, no rain expected in the desert Southwest. Speaking of rainfall and how much we're going to be getting, a lot of you guys have been asking me about this thing, the Tempest Weather Station. It is on sale again over on our website. Use code TEMPEST10 at checkout and you're going to save 10% off this thing right here. This is what we use at the Weather House. This is what I use at my personal house. It's the Tempest Weather System. It's a complete weather station for your home. It's super awesome. Here's some more information about it now. Have you ever wanted to have your very own home personal weather station? Like something that you can put in your backyard that tells you in real time what the dew point, temperature, wind speed, and direction and all that good stuff is? Well, guess what? I have figured out which one is actually the best, and I have acquired them for our site, shopryanhall.com. It's called the Tempest Weather System, and it works like a dream. As a weather enthusiast since birth, I've had a lot of these things, and this is by far the easiest one to install, and it just looks the best. It doesn't look like a big doomaflachi up there, you know what I'm saying? Not only that, but the app is daggone great. It also keeps up with all of your historical weather data in these really cool charts. And the coolest part is, if you opt in, you can share all of this weather data that you're collecting with the National Weather Service, and ultimately me, so that we can make our algorithms and forecasting services even better in the future. We also have a bunch of cool accessories on the site, including these smaller portable weather meters. These handheld devices sync up with your phone and can give you weather info on the go. Here's a video of me testing one out in a severe thunderstorm. I forgot to screen record on my phone, but that was a 50-mile-an-hour wind gust. So y'all, this is the real deal. There is no better personal weather station on the market. And once again, these things are $339. So 10% discount is going to save you quite a bit on that. And we don't always have a 10% discount on these things. So make sure you take advantage of this while you can. Go over to shopryanhall.com right now. There's a link in the description. Thank you so much, and we will get this shipped out to you as quickly as possible. And that's all the weather talk I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It should be next week when our next Y'all Squad video comes out, so make sure you subscribe to the Y'all Squad channel as well. I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye. Ooh.